Senator Hinojosa of Hidalgo, for what purpose?
Will Senator yield for questions?
I yield.
Senator Hinojosa, you're recognized.
I thank you, Mr. President. And Senator Barker, well, I understand the decision that came down from the United States Supreme Court. My question is very specific. In your bill, if you look page 1, line 28, it says engage in religious speech or prayer while on duty. So does that mean that a teacher in the classroom while on duty can end up praying? How do you deal with that?
Well, thank you, Senator, for the question. Look, what we are doing with this piece of legislation, we are codifying Kennedy, pure and simple. And we're not expanding Kennedy. We're not limiting Kennedy. We are going to stay on strong constitutional grounds, and we're not going to get out there far flung from what the Supreme Court has said. What we know, as opposed to a hypothetical, is that the Supreme Court has ruled that a teacher, while on duty, can have a personal form of religious expression during the day, during class, or in the Coach Kennedy situation, they can do that personal religious expression after a football game, so to speak, on the football field. That's what we know. And so we're staying on strong constitutional grounding as opposed to getting into any various hypothetical situations, and we're just simply codifying Kennedy today.
Many times you have the Supreme Court issue rulings just based on principle with a certain rule of law, constitutionality. But it leaves up to the states or the entities involved with that particular case to sort of work out some of the details. And we need a little bit more guidance on your bill as to what are we talking about. Does it just during free time, while on duty, get a break during a class? It is important because there'll be some teachers that may be overly simplified that they now can pray there before they start class or during the class in front of the students. I mean, those issues need to be clarified. We don't even give the school boards any guidance under your bill.
Senator, I appreciate the question very much. And again, we're standing on solid constitutional grounding. We're standing on the decree that came down from the Supreme Court. Just to give you some clarification as well, it's only been 3 years now since the Kennedy decision came out from, of course, Judge Gorsuch authored the majority opinion of the court, but it's only been 3 years. And so I think what we need to do, respectfully, is to allow our body to go forward and codify Kennedy into law and allow the courts to make decisions in the future with regard to how things are utilized. But again, I think to get into hypotheticals when we're not a member of the judiciary would not be appropriate. That's my perspective, Senator.
Well, I don't think it's a hypothetical. I mean, it's for real. I know this piece of legislation, Bill 965. I just think we ought to at least provide the school boards to allow them to be able to set some guidelines with the parameters of the Supreme Court decision so that we make sure that this right to be able to pray on duty be confined to within the, perimeter set by the Supreme Court. Right now, it's wide open. There's no guidance, there's no rules, nothing. And other legislation we passed here before, we allowed the school board to be able to make decisions locally. Here we're not. And to me, if a teacher wants to pray in school, that's fine. But don't do it there in the classroom, or don't do it right before class starts. Go into a private room or go someplace,
And Senator, again, I appreciate and have the greatest respect in the world. You and I see eye to eye on most things all the time. My view of this is that we're simply codifying Kennedy, and we got to allow the court to weigh in further as time goes by. Again, it's only been 3 years since the Kennedy decision. So that's my perspective, and we need to provide clarification into statute so that that people understand what took place. Again, we're just codifying. We just want folks to understand that the Kennedy decision is now the law of the land, and that's really all we're doing and putting it in Texas law.
Well, one more point, Senator Parker, and that is that the United States Supreme Court makes a lot of decisions that impact our schools, our cities, our civil rights. But we don't codify every decision being passed or decided by the United States Supreme Court. Otherwise, it would be endless. Every session, every year, we come up with more and more bills just trying to codify the law, which can change from one year to the next, depending on how the litigation is challenging the law in different aspects. I just think that we ought to give more guidance to our school boards how to implement the Supreme Court ruling and not leave it so wide open that it can be abused by some teachers.
Well, thank you, Senator. And again, I think in time we'll get additional guidance from the Supreme Court on the topic, but appreciate your comments very much. I just think codifying the decision into our statute is appropriate, and we're staying on strong constitutional grounding. Again, I'm not expanding from Kennedy, and I'm not contracting from it. We're just going to stay firm on constitutional grounding and codification.
I just think we need some guidance, but thank you, Senator Parker, for answering my question.
Thank you, Senator, as always. Thank you.